Huschenbett falling there. So one of the heads of the Hydra of Jesse, David, and Arna is down. But Jesse and David, that testing team, still two alive here as we see if one of them can make the finals, or indeed both of them coming up here as we turn our attention towards our semifinals. The first match that we're going to watch in our semifinals is Ryan Condon versus Jesse Hampton. Let's get to meet the players. Here's Ryan Condon on your screen running that very cool Quintorius combo deck that can really pop off. Started playing in 2009 from Brooklyn. Qualified via a limited tournament. Loves limited. In fact, 3 of the draft here at this tournament this weekend. But explore all the rest of the way here in our top 8. Let's hear what Ryan's thinking right now.
We've got another semifinals on our hands here. Ryan, you've made it in the semifinals. You're now going to be playing what is the biggest match here for you in this tournament. You're going to be playing against Jesse, who's playing Red Black Vampires. You're playing Quintorius combo. What's in your mind after that win? And now you've got Worlds on the horizon if you get one more.
Yeah, the win was great, but Magic is Magic, and I'm just trying to approach this as any other match of Magic. Jesse is an amazing player, so I'm really lucky to be able to play against him. And yeah, just hoping to, play correctly, take it home.
Now you get to get a little bit of a rematch with him here, so maybe you'll be out for blood, get a little bit as a payback. Now, in this matchup, what is it you're really looking for? What are you hoping to avoid? Is there specific cards you're trying to draw? What's important?
Yeah, this is a matchup we obviously prepared a lot for. We expected it to be, a large portion of the tournament, maybe not this large. Really, our entire deck is designed to be as good as possible against Red Black Vampires, although it's really hard to have an amazing matchup. You can only have a slightly good matchup. That's what I think I have. Looking to just hit my combo pieces, have ramp to find them, and to cast them quickly so I don't die. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well, Ryan, best of luck in the next round.
Thank you so much.
Thoughts from Ryan there on the matchup versus Jesse Hampton here, who is the opponent to Pro Tour top 8s to Jesse Hampton's name. So one of the most accomplished players in our field here. Went undefeated day 1 at Pro Tour Murders at Karloff Manor that happened just recently. But unfortunately, the wheels fell off on day 2. Didn't even make top 8 there. So looking here for redemption this weekend. So another great performance here for Jesse Hampton. Rakdos Vampires, the deck. Let's hear what Jesse thinks ahead of this matchup in the semifinals.
Once again, being joined by Jesse Hampton here after his victory in a mirror match in these quarterfinals. Jesse, what a crazy match between you two there. What was going through your mind during that?
I just had really great draws both games. I don't know. I had Soren Vein Ripper game 1. They answered it, but they had to use 6 cards or 5 cards, and then they didn't have a red source for a while. And then game 2, we both stumbled on lands, but I drew out of my stumble first, and I had Blot Out and Liliana to deal with their combo, as well as having the combo in my hand. So it was just great draws by me and my opponent being on the short end of the stick for their draws, basically.
All right, let's talk a little bit about this match coming up, because this is the most important one of the tournament. This one's got a World Championship berth on the line. Your next matchup is against Quintorius combo. How are you feeling about this one?
Feeling okay. I mean, I was interviewed after I beat them yesterday, and I said it was scary. I'm still scared, but I'm just gonna play my cards and hope they come out right. And that's all I've been doing all weekend. To just take it one match and one game at a time, and try to play my best and hope that they don't combo me on turn 4.
Is there anything in particular that you're looking for? Is there any specific sideboard card, anything like that that's gonna turn over the match, or is it just a straight up fight?
I mean, I want to draw my hand disruption, and I want to draw, my combo, I guess. But I don't know. I mean, getting a Liliana with the Thoughtseize would be nice if I can just sculpt a perfect hand. I Liliana ultimated in the first yesterday when I played them in the second game, I think, and it basically won me the game. I also got very lucky in that they ran out of. They drew an extra one of their clone targets, but you have to get lucky to win these events. So I'm just hoping to keep it going.
Well, Jesse, thanks for the time. Best of luck in your next round.
All right, thank you.
All right, so a rematch from yesterday up again here today. Starting out with the decks, let's take a look at Quintorius combo Daquan.
Yeah, I think here in this matchup, the craziest thing is just going to be hoping to dodge a key thought seize because most of the rest of the vampire deck doesn't interact too well here since you really don't have all of those creatures and permanents that the vampire is keying in on killing. You just want to find a creative way to stick a Quintorius and start getting them copied as soon as possible.
All right, that's a look at Quintorius combo up against the most represented deck in the tournament that broke out at Murders at Karlov Manor, that Pro Tour just recently. Here again this weekend, Hayu.
And it's now half of the semifinals. So really kind of holding up its reputation and its representation all the way through to the late parts of the tournament. We did hear Jesse say that he did find the Quintorius combo a little bit scary, but we have also seen him play extremely well on camera all weekend, and it's hard to count out Rakdos Vampires in the hands of Jesse Hampton.
All right, well, we're going to send somebody to the World Championship and get our first finalist coming up here. Let's head down to semifinal number 1.
All right, here we go, Hayu. This is going to send somebody into the finals. And honestly, this should be a good one because I think the first game, like I said, I think we're trying to just dodge getting your key cards removed here if you're Ryan. But Jesse seems to have a plan. As much as he is afraid of this matchup, he has navigated it okay this weekend.
Right, this is actually a rematch from round number 4, I believe, the first round of Explorer, where Jesse actually beat Ryan in this exact matchup. So Ryan will have definitely learned some things from that and from the other decks that they've played against this weekend. Let's see if Jesse can repeat it. World Championship invite on the line. So this one really is for all the marbles, Daquan.
Yeah, the money's nice, but that World Championship invite getting locked up is even better. And it does come with its own minimum payout as well. So there's money on top of money here.
For sure. And these opening hands of both players, they're both missing the quote-unquote combo pieces. No Sara, no Vein Ripper for Jesse, and no Quintorius or Carnosaur for Ryan. But they both have pretty good setup hands. Ryan has 2 copies of Beanstalk Giant, Fertile Footsteps, one of the key kind of ramp spells in the deck. And that one cannot be duressed away either.
Yeah, I feel like as things stand, you are a little bit more favored if you're in Ryan's seat here, just because you can take your time, kind of set up, search for some lands. You do still have access to a ley line, so you're not worried about a whole lot here. But Jesse did pick up a duress on that last draw.
Right, and Jesse, we'll see what he finds. Oh, Thoughtseize is a really nice draw here for Jesse Hampton.
Yeah, having access to both of those could go a long way towards stripping Ryan's hand and leave him without a lot of options. You'd be down to probably just the adventure side of the Beanstalk Giant.
Here is Leyline Binding, and Ryan, by the way, very smart, used the Leyline Binding immediately, recognize that they need to keep their life total absolutely as high as possible because they need the maximum number of turns to make sure that they can find their combo pieces and have enough mana to go off.
Yeah, Jesse's going to go ahead and fire off a Thoughtseize here, get the information, see that it's actually some pretty good news, right? There's only a Beanstalk Giant once you get rid of this one. So now you're just putting Ryan in a top deck situation.
Right, the first Beanstalk Giant goes away. Duress, of course, doesn't do anything about the second one. So very nice sequencing there from Jesse to not use the Duress first and have that fizzle.
Yeah, that would have just been a unfortunate use of mana. But it also makes sense in this matchup if he did fire off because Ryan's deck does have a few things you can hit with it.
Right, for sure. I mean, obviously the Quintorius, that's the number 1 target, but you can hit herd migrations, you can hit the Leyline Binding. So certainly there are quite a few good targets not in hand for Ryan, and now Jesse knows that.
Yeah, and this is a bit of a tough spot for Jesse. Decided to go ahead and use that blood token, just drew into another land. Does have an Archfiend to at least create some pressure on these next few turns, but unfortunately no other interaction beyond that.
Well, yeah, Jesse can play this Archfiend out. I think he's probably looking for something different to do. Maybe a Fable of the Mirror Breaker would be a great draw at this point. We have seen Jesse time and time again prioritize resources, prioritize sculpting the hand over just playing out a big threat. But his hand is forced here. And oh, that's a Quintorius off the top.
I was literally about to say, you could just top deck a 5-mana thing here and just go off. And here it is.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean, there was really nothing Jesse could have done that there. Duress would not have helped at all. And now Ryan starts comboing off. Clever Impersonator being the first one that you hit is not ideal because it doesn't make an unlegendary copy, unlike Spark Double.
Yeah, and you see it on Jesse's face, though. Just what was I going to do? Like, you just top decked it? Like, okay.
Right, but I think the 4 Spark Doubles in the deck should be plenty here for Ryan to close this one out. And really, Jesse, there was really not anything Jesse could have done in this game one. And that's exactly what Ryan needed to get one step closer to that World Championships invite.
Yeah, now you're looking at another drain of 6 incoming. So that's going to set Jesse down to 4. And then eventually we will hit one of the next copies here. It's going to do 8 and end the game.
Right. And honestly, Daquan, I mean, this deck has been so impressive outside of the feature match area. In the feature match area, especially for Ryan, things have not gone to plan all that much, but it's going to plan for them when it matters right here in the semifinals.
Yeah, but it's just like we were saying, and this is one of those particular matchups where there's not a lot of interaction to what you're trying to do. You know, really, the removal suite that Jesse brings in here or has main deck really doesn't target much of anything unless the few cases where you have to try to go off with Carnosaur, probably.
Right. And you see some other Vampires lists in the field this weekend had copies of stuff like Bitter Triumph, ways to actually kill Planeswalkers at instant speed, but Jesse didn't really come packing any of those effects. Has a copy of Blot Out in the side, an instant speed edict effect for Planeswalkers, so that could be helpful in stopping the combo. Of course, Grafdigger's Cage, really the sideboard card that Jesse most wants to see here.
Yeah, and if you notice, even Jesse said, yeah, these fatal pushes are just awful. So let's just get rid of all of them and bring in some level of interaction that'll help.
Right, and I also want to talk about Jesse kind of citing out the Preacher of the Schism. Preacher is a great, great card when you are playing a fair game, a mid-range game where it's going to get you incremental advantage. In this kind of matchup, it does close to nothing in a lot of scenarios.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I mean, it's nice. It might get you some extra cards, but that's not the game you're trying to play here. You're just trying to prevent the combo from happening while you're just getting in with your chip damage, or hopefully you hit something big on turn 3 or 4 and then can just sit back.
And Jesse finds a Thoughtseize. This hand is looking very similar to the game 1 hand for Jesse, and that hand did not work out for him, Daquan.
Yeah, and this is almost a sequence that could play out the same here, right? You're looking at a Leyline in Ryan's hand, and the only difference here is that actually this time a Thoughtseize probably gets a Quintorius.
Yeah, I think Jesse will be very happy to see that Quintorius. That Ryan does have a Carnosaur in hand as well, so that it is a turn later though, and this Vampires deck, even if Jesse doesn't have a lot going on right now, one Fable off the top, a key card like that, or like a Finding Sarin, Rain Ripper, something like that would turn this right around for Jesse.
Yeah, I mean, it also speaks to the power of Fable, right? Even in this situation, so, well, if you stick a Fable on 3 or 4 and your opponent's a little bit slow, that extra value is just going to be good enough.
Wow, Duress, though, that changes things significantly, Daquan. We were talking about how Thoughtseize maybe gets the Quintorius, but here, if Jesse decides to fire both of these off, he can take both combo pieces from Ryan, and Ryan cannot do anything about it.
Yeah, this was a really big draw here, and I think Jesse's going to see this and saying, okay, now you can take Carnosaur and you can take Quintorius, and then you force Ryan back into a top-decking situation to find the answers that he needs.
Right, and Ryan found it last time, right? So it's definitely not impossible, even if both of these cards hit the bit.
Yeah, and to Ryan's credit, you already have the Beanstalk Giant, so that's going to be a land. You've got 3 other lands in hand, so even if you were just to draw a Carnosaur, you will have the mana when the time comes.
Yeah, this is why you play this deck, right? you want to just be able to combo on turn 4, the thing that Jesse was pretty afraid of in his player interview. But even if you don't, the setup cards really help you kind of make sure that you have everything available. The top of your deck is so strong most of the time.
Yeah, Jesse's giving this a lot of thought. I'd be curious to know what he's thinking about here, because I thought, okay, knowing you have the duress, we're going to take the Carnosaur and then Quintorius. But he might be plotting out some extra turns where he says, okay, maybe I want to get the ley line in the Quintorius, and maybe, okay, he settled on the Carnosaur anyway. But I was kind of curious on the line of thought there that he was processing.
Right, and I think a lot of that comes down to the fact that Jesse is on the play. And because Jesse was able to get this early bit of pressure down, he's thinking, what if I just play Archfiend next turn and I have 2 creatures unchallenged? Do I have enough time to actually just kill Ryan before Ryan even has a chance to kind of make the combo happen? So definitely some calculations going on there for Jesse. Ultimately decides to take the safer line and get rid of those combo pieces.
All right, we found a Vein Ripper here, but nowhere near getting it into play. Leyline's going to take out this Harvester, and I'm sure we're just going to follow up with the big Archfiend of the Dross here. Oh, or not.
Oh, also manages to click through all of those phases.
I was going to say.
Yeah. You don't want to click that button one too many times. That's for sure.
I have been guilty of that as well. I think I've made every dumb mistake in Arena you can make at some point from over-clicking.
Wow. Consecrate Consume for Ryan Condon takes out the big threat that Jesse had access to. And, I was just thinking, okay, we saw Arne Huschenbett unfortunately losing the last match to his own Archfiend of the Dross trigger, which I did not have on my bingo card, by the way, to card for the weekend.
Yeah, but that's why you play those sideboard cards, though, to wipe out those big monsters. And being at a higher life total does mean it's much harder to kill them if you do find another one.
Absolutely. And Jesse, just left with a Vein Ripper in hand, is at least in the position, Daquan, that he can, if he finds a land, he can just slam the Vein Ripper. But this is not where Rakdos wants to be against the combo deck.
I think we're just going to see a big Tanuki try to show up and fight as a big 6/5 body here.
I'd love to see it.
And it tramples. That's the other thing. So got to keep that in mind too.
For sure. And getting that 6/5 down is nice for Ryan, because that's also kind of a bit of insurance against drawing your clever impersonators, your spark doubles. Just having something out on the battlefield that's sizable, it's a game plan.
Yep, and since we already have 7 lands, this is a 7/7 Beanstalk Giant that can go to war pretty well with the Vein Ripper.
Wow, this attack in from Jesse takes Ryan down to 15, and Jesse has a Mutavault, I guess?
Hey, that's beneficial here, as the Giant doesn't trample, even though it is a large 7/7 creature.
All right, that Giant definitely looks like it has trample.
It should, or maybe even reach, because it's a Beanstalk Giant.
Right.
We did find a Spark Double here, though.
Okay. All right, so Ryan has some options here. There's got to be some temptation to put Karuga in hand, attack, and play it and draw 3 cards. I mean, that's just... I think it's very difficult for any Magic player to resist drawing 3 cards at any time.
Fair. 3 cards is always nice. Rarely is it a bad thing.
For sure. There's also, and because Spark Double makes it unlegendary, there's also some world in which you could Spark Double and copy the Karuga next turn. But maybe I'm being too greedy, Daquan, and a Spark Double on the Beanstalk Giant will just be enough.
Yeah, it looks like it. Now you got a 9/9 and 8/8 and a 6/5 here against just a Vein Ripper. That's not gonna cut it.
Ouch. Wow, Vampires goes out so quickly, and Ryan Condon's going to the World Championships.
There you go. Like 2-0 for Ryan. I mean, that's kind of what we said, though, right? If you don't get very key cards in this matchup, it kind of shows why Jesse was afraid of the Quintorius combo deck. you don't get that same level of interaction that your deck's built for against all the other decks that remained in the tournament.